welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss the relationship between Aquarius and Capricorn. So these two are quite an interesting mix just because they are both traditionally represented by the same planet, which is Saturn, but the way in which Saturn affects them is very different. That's why a lot of modern astrologists have switched that to Uranus, and they've made Aquarius seem a bit more different in comparison to Capricorn with how they interpret the world, their conscious awareness, and so forth. So let's get right into it. So their intimate relationship is about 60%. Reason being, I'm being nice even by saying 60. The reason being is they're kind of opposites. And I mean kind of in a very literal way. For one, Capricorn is an earth sign. Aquarius, air sign. So you have earth meets air, not always the best mix. They view the world in a very different way. Even though they both can be traditionally represented by Saturn, I'm going to put it like that for this video because it's very important. The way Saturn interprets with Aquarius is to make reform, to make change. Saturn is definitely about structures, but it also equips Aquarius to make changes to structures in a very masculine way. In regards to Capricorn, it actually goes in a very feminine, restrictive way of making them accept life, accept the obstacles, and going through and building through the process of going through the darkness. So it affects them in two very different ways. With Aquarius, it's all about them finding that they're black sheep, but that they want a drastic change, and Saturn equips them to do that with their higher intelligence and with their ability to see through the bad times. They have a very equipped vision, and they're very smart, and they can actually get that vision accomplished. When you get these guys in an intimate relation, it will almost feel like one person's disabling the other, even though they're not trying to. So if the Aquarius brings up to the Capricorn, they have a vision of some sort, the Capricorn will bring up the what ifs, the what that, this, whatever, X, Y, Z, and say, you can't do it because of this. And Aquarius will look at them and say, well, are you crazy? Everything will come with an obstacle and come with a degree of risk. This is why I want to do it. Let's get this done. And the other way around, Capricorn might look at Aquarius in a sense of, you're a bit too much up in the air. You're not really looking at life for what it is. You want the flowers and roses. You're not looking at what's actually here. It's a dark world. And because of this degree of, I guess, a difference in perspective, this leads to a lot of friction within the relationship. And that's just on a communication basis. When it comes to sexual intimacy, Aquarius is very forefront. They could be a little bit cold and callous, just like Capricorn. However, they're very forefront. A lot of air signs can be very sort of in your face about if they want to get with you. They view it as a rational thing. 1 + 1 = 2 for them, and that's how kind of sex is, I guess, perceived by these people. They look at it as a sense of, if they want to have a sexual relationship with you, they're going to let you know, they're going to go forward with it. Capricorn wants the grounding, the process, the dating before, the planning out, and this can be very annoying to the Aquarius person. And vice versa, the Capricorn person will look at the Aquarius almost as insulting if they just want to rush into a relationship without any sort of background beforehand. So if they do get to the point of being in a relationship, the communication and their perspectives can play a great deal of, I guess I would say, interference, which is why I had to give them a 60%. To get past it, what I recommend is understand that you guys are both represented by very similar energy. Even if you don't agree with the whole Saturn analogy of they're both represented by Saturn, and you look at Aquarius as represented by Uranus, then you still understand that these planets are very similar. It's still two ringed planets, and that's for a reason. They're meant to be very similar. Aquarius is meant to be an energy of a lot of change, a lot of reform, and Capricorn is meant to be an energy of a lot of discipline and mental fortitude. So when you get these guys together, they really would do well if they're in some sort of business together or they're doing competitive sports. So if they're able to get into something like that where they're actually taking the time to alliance in the relationship and do things together, such as do certain hobbies or clubs or outdoor activities, then you're going to notice that the strength of the relationship goes up. And those other things, such as the sexual degree in which they go, their communication, their perspectives, those things will begin to align because they're actually both competitive energies doing something and actually defeating opposing enemies together. So whether that be in the political arena, the business arena, the sports arena, whatever it may be, this is where you guys will shine the best together because you guys are both very systematic. Both can be very disciplined and very intelligent, especially when it comes to devouring your enemies. So my recommendation is to find something like that so you guys can become like a more of a weaponized couple in comparison to the regular couple that would just go out to the movies, etc. You guys might be a little bit more of on a house of cards sort of thing where it's like you guys are sitting down making plans, pretty much take over the world. And I don't mean that by an over exaggeration. You guys are very capable of getting a lot done in this lifetime, because anybody that's represented by Saturn, whether that be in the numerology or astrology, they're meant to make drastic change during their lifetime, whether that be in their community or the world as a whole. Moving on to a business aspect, these two can do business quite well together. The same sort of thing applies. It's about 70% it'll work. It's only because of their predominant sort of mental characteristic. Aquarius wants freedom. They want the whole freedom of having a business and then being able to do what they want with said business. Then you get Capricorn that wants to have a structured business, wants to have financial freedom, but understands the step-by-step process it's going to take to get there. So this is where they kind of have a bit of opposing energy, but they do kind of want the same conclusion. With that being said, what needs to be done is this. They can get into things like pharmaceuticals, airline companies, anything to do with like iron, materials, agriculture, construction. Those things will definitely apply to these guys very well, because like I said, they're both affected by Saturn traditionally. And then if you look at Aquarius from the modernized standpoint, it would be Uranus, but yet still they are very good with exploration, with dealing with new concepts. And Capricorn will be great at bringing Aquarius's ideas down to earth and monetizing them, giving them the step-by-step process and looking at the details that they may have missed. And Aquarius will help Saturn, or Capricorn, I should say, excuse me, look at the bigger picture of the overall capacity of the business, the trajectory of where it can go, and help them expand, and also build great networks and connections, due to the fact that Aquarius actually governs the 11th house, which has everything to do with our connections and influence and so forth. Okay. Last but not least, it's friendship. This is where they're definitely the strongest. I'd say like 85% of the time they're going to work out. Reason being, they both are able to understand each other on a sort of underlying subconscious way. These two sun signs understand the idea of hard life. They understand the idea of being misunderstood and misinterpreted. So when they get together, they're kind of able to interpret each other quite well. They communicate in a very cold and callous way. These are the type of friends that will be best friends for life. However, you won't even really see them around each other. Loyalty won't really be a question, but it's a matter of, if they have something pragmatic to do together, they'll do it. But if they don't, then these are the type of friends that will just sit around and gossip. And this goes whether they're males or females. You guys are very, very compatible with your energies, and there won't really be much debate or any real cons in regards to a friendship, aside from the fact that both you guys are kind of antisocial in your own way. So if you guys do end up becoming friends, it'll work. But if you guys just don't really have any reason to be friends, that's why I had to give that 20% or 15% away to say maybe it might not work out. But aside from that, that should conclude the video, guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to leave it in the comments for me. Aside from that, like, subscribe. All let me do for today, guys. Peace.